Welcome to Liberate University. Liberate University is free educational content released for the benefit and enjoyment of all. Many thanks to our gracious family of world-class practitioners for sharing their work.
Hi there, welcome to another episode of Liberate University. Today, we're going to talk about one of the most important things I think that people prioritize in their life, and that is love. Now, having a couple new age centers and, healing spiritual places, so many people talk about these different terms like twin flame, soulmate, and they're tossed around, and it's really what they're looking for is this divine connection with their self. And they're trying to understand between, is there that ideal match that is that one person that is for you? And when people ask and pose these questions, maybe there's some belief and maybe a whole bunch of different knowledge that you can deep dive and rabbit hole about twin flames in particular, or about soulmates. And some people believe that there's one or that there's many and that there's all of these different choices. But what you really have to ask yourself is, are you attracting somebody that you want to be with? Right? I mean, ultimately, whether there is this divine soulmate or this twin flame or not, it's about how do we attract who we love and who we want to love, and how do we attract the type of relationship that we really are looking for. And I think that that's what people, kind of look for, that there must be this certain relationship that is meant for them, or that this ideal partner that is the perfect match. And I don't really subscribe to that, because I think that each relationship in your life gives you something, teaches you something, and helps you grow. And we are all learning, we are all growing. Evolution involves time, process, and lots of mistakes. And sometimes we grow together and sometimes we grow apart. And that's okay that if certain relationships don't last forever, right? There's this misconception and almost this misbelief out there that if the relationship doesn't last your whole entire lifetime, was it a waste of your time, your energy, and whatnot? And I often say to people, well, did you learn? Did you grow? Did you get something out of it? Because of the relationship, did you have amazing experiences? Because of it, did you go through different challenges that awoken something in yourself? And then you say, okay, that wasn't a waste of time. I often like to compare relationships to sometimes like vacations. You wouldn't just not go on a vacation if you, just because you weren't going to move there permanently. That would be silly. The whole point is to go there, embrace it, even if it is that 1 week of your life or 2 weeks or whatever the experience. Even if you never get to go back, you take every day for the fullest. And I truly believe that's how you should embrace each and every day of your life. But when you look at these relationships and you look at what are you manifesting, what are you putting out there, and what are you receiving back? And oftentimes, if you're having a lot of, let's say, hits in the love department, maybe it's because that there's some things in you that need to be worked through, okay? Because whatever we are attracting is attracting us, and that vibration links up like this. Ding. So if you have savior issues, you're probably going to attract somebody that needs saving and that isn't your equal. If you have codependency issues, you're going to attract somebody else that's codependent. If you don't feel loved and that you don't respect yourself, maybe you attract people that don't respect you. And let's keep on going on and on. And it can even be about things that aren't so dramatic. It could be like maybe there's a creative element inside of you that is really suppressed, but you constantly find yourself attracted to creative people, whether musicians, artists, or whatnot. And it almost is like you're pulling that in because you desire that inside of yourself. And so we can really start to look at relationships from that lens of what are they teaching us about ourselves, right? And when we have the ability to actually work on ourselves to a point of love, appreciation, and self-acceptance, you're going to notice that you're no longer trying to find a relationship that fits in your round hole like a triangle or a peg or whatever the case may be, and nothing fits right. And nothing will ever fit right, because what you're seeking is you're seeking for somebody outside of you to fill something that's inside of you, and that comes from within, not without. Okay? So let's go back to talking about the dynamics of relationships, and that sometimes they don't last forever, but they can be sometimes the most amazing, most valuable gifts in your life, right? And one of the things to look at is, I know that a lot of people, maybe their parents or their grandparents parents or whatnot, and you see older generations had a tendency to stay into a relationship for a lot longer period of time. They tended to marry earlier in life, and they tended to stay with that person until they passed away. And, but let's look at their life for a second, okay? And most of these people, they tend to live in the same town that they grew up in, and they lived there until they passed away. Okay? Most of the time they had one profession or career in their lifetime. Maybe they even lived in one house, right? Maybe their house was at its childhood, but I'm saying once they bought a house with their significant other and their family, they stayed in that one particular house, and they stayed in that for the rest of their life, right? And what I'm getting at, and the point that I'm trying to get across, is there wasn't much change. Okay? It was pretty much life was status quo, and there's nothing wrong with that. This was a beautiful time, but there wasn't a lot of massive growing, evolution, change, transformation. There wasn't somebody going through 4 or 5 different careers in their lifetime, moving to different cities, living in different parts of the same city, diving deep into who they are, having this beautiful gift called Google at your fingertips at any given moment, with the ability to learn, grow, and express yourself. This wasn't the lifetime that was then there. And I say this because when people don't change too much, they can stay together for a lot longer period of time. And oftentimes in relationships, and what I find when people are going through these massive transformations in their life, is one of the first things to go is their significant other. And be not unless they are changing too. Okay? I want to say that there are beautiful relationships in love that they tend to work on each other, or work on one another at the same time as each other, and they can continue to grow together. But I want you to imagine taking 2 little marbles, and you put them in your hand, and you start them out at the same spot, and you roll them across the floor. Okay? What happens is, for a while in the beginning, they're going to roll pretty close next to each other. Okay? But if something happens, they hit a little gravel or some kind of unsmooth surface in the flooring, they're going to start to split apart. And that little deviation is going to make them go further and further and further apart. And by the time they hit the opposite side of the room, you'll find that where those 2 marbles hit can be in very different proximity from one another, no longer close together, but rather spread apart. And that's what often happens to couples. Sometimes when you're going through many changes in your life, when you're going through, shifting your career, if you're, learning something new, if you're diving into the spiritual practice, if you're taking on a new hobby or passion, if you're allowing yourself to start a new business, or whatever that it may be, you're going through massive growth. And I want you to know that if your relationship doesn't last throughout that just means that you're ready for the next one, right? And if you look at relationships as these ideal divine learning and partnerships of union that are your biggest teachers, you can allow yourself to open yourself up to love, appreciation, and an amazing relationship beyond your wildest dreams, right? And so whether you want to call that your soulmate or your twin flame or any of those, new age kind of terminologies, or you can just say you're attracting what your soul is seeking, and you can continue to acknowledge and know yourself better by the different things that are showing up in your relationship. And you can allow yourself to ask yourself, you're seeking deeper love. How do you love yourself deeper? And you will be amazed at what starts to show up. The deeper loving connections that you find from your friends and from that relationship, from that love. And so if you are sitting here and you're tuning in because you are working on attracting love in your life, I want you to take a step back and first and foremost have appreciation for every relationship that has ever been, every relationship that didn't work out, the different things that they showed you and taught you about yourself and about what relationship truly means and what you really desire moving forward in your next relationships, okay? And once you get to that point and you see that even if it didn't last forever, even if a part of your heart is still attached to that individual, that you can allow yourself to say, okay, I learned this and that, and maybe part of that can heal so you can move forward, right? And then you say, okay, what am I truly seeking? And am I giving that to myself? Because the first and foremost way to help manifest that love in your life is, are you loving and appreciating and showing yourself love? Okay? So I want you to look at, and I want you to ask yourself, have I ever experienced this? Have I ever given myself this? Okay? Nurturing, tender care, unconditional love, support. Think about those things that a relationship, the ideal qualities and characteristics. Fun, right? Are you giving yourself fun? Are you supporting yourself? Are you giving yourself encouragement? Are you showing up and giving yourself unconditional love? I want you to ask yourself and really challenge yourself this, because the more you can give this to you, the more you start to invite that energy in from others, right? And then when you allow yourself to disconnect for this moment of that thought process that maybe there is this one and only for you, you can start opening up to the many possibilities. And I believe the more that you open up and you stop fixating on one, you allow yourself to receive what is right there waiting for you. It's the same thing. It's the same level and law of manifestation for anything in your life. The more you attach and fixate on one particular outcome or the way you think that it ought to be, you alienate all the other options and possibilities that could be there for you, right? If you say, I can only get this job, this is the only job for me, this is the only job for me, you stop even applying to other jobs. You don't even notice if somebody's trying to offer you one that could be really your dream job. You dismiss it because you're so fixated on the one that you feel is going to be best for you instead of the one that may be better for you or the best for you if you just allow yourself to open up. So the challenge then is to allow yourself to open up and to know that everything in the right timing. Let's have you love and appreciate this period right now, this point in your life right now. Let's say if you are single, enjoy this time, because you know what? It's not going to be long before you're in a relationship. And so this time is valuable, kind of like if you looked back at different points in your life and you say, oh, you know what? I wish that I would have enjoyed those times when I was in elementary school a little bit more. Or maybe, I was so worried about rushing through junior high school, or junior high, I was so worried about getting into high school to getting to become 16 and drive, from 16 to graduating high school to college to this, and keep on going. But we were so ready to get to the next stage that we forgot that that stage was unique and divine and the only one like it in our life. This stage, this period right now is the only period that's going to be like this one. I'm telling you, it doesn't matter if you ever find yourself single again. You'll never be the same you again. You can never step in the same river twice, and you can never be the same person twice. And I leave you with that. Thank you for joining. Until next time.
Thank you for being a part of this class. We hope to see you at the next one.